What up, people? My name is Lewis Lee from All Ins Media. Hold on, let me get my camera right. All right, here we go. And I'd like to welcome everybody to Plan and Traffic. And we are live on Facebook and YouTube. So please like and share both. We will appreciate it. And we have John, Chassis John, and Ray.
Yep.
Fellas. So what's going on? Ray was just saying he was watching the show. Go ahead, Ray. You can.
Yeah, I was just watching some Wrenched where I saw Justin drop in on a guy's shop. He did some engine. He diamond cut some heads and jugs on a Harley, and then stopped in to see it at this guy's shop. Something Baggers. I forget the name of his shop. And he was building a bike with what I think was the biggest front tire I've ever seen on a bike, which we've agreed was probably a 30-inch.
I think they're up to 32s.
Now?
Get out of here.
The back of this bike had a tarp over it, so you couldn't see, and it did look like it was, like a reverse rake. When that's all said and done, what size wheel do they use in the back of those things? They keep it smaller so the bike has that backwards rake.
Yep.
Have you ever ridden one like that? One of those things?
Yeah.
What's it like?
One of my buddies has one, and you would think it'd be really hard to ride, but it's not. It handles pretty good. Not like a sports bike, but it handles pretty good. The problem is stopping. It's hard to stop those bikes because, you got a lot of brake, a lot of wheel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, people don't realize the gyroscopic effect of a wheel. That is just basically how they work. It's one of these, it's a gyroscope. So you take it and when you spin it, there's the inside. And you can't really, if you ever had one in your hands, it's a kid's toy, but it's a real physics thing. It's tough. So I would imagine that like the tip in and the turnability has got to be fairly okay.
Yeah,
it is. But they're thin,
But you have to watch. If you lean too much, you'll scrape your foot pegs and stuff.
I did that all the time anyway.
Yeah. Yeah,
a lot of the bikes I've seen that are like that. Let's go back to Orange County chopper days. They got giant rear tires, which I've seen bikes like that, around town, and those are hard enough to make a turn with to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the rear
tire's
wheels.
So wide.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And the bike kind of bounces down the road. It hops.
Yeah.
Here's a 32.
That is an evil looking machine, man. That black one is evil looking. Jesus.
Now this is still real big here in this area, and like down in Texas. Wait a minute. Hold on, we're on a video.
My roof is not 7 years old.
Let's get out of here. So down in Texas, they hate these bikes with the big wheels in the front, but up north, around this area, they're real big.
Okay. Yeah.
Even over in Daytona,
Texas, then.
I guess it's regional.
See, that's a 32-inch.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. That back, that's cool.
That's
I
crazy.
like that.
You guys can't hear it, right?
Audio? No.
I don't know how we can get that to pop, but
So that fork obviously can't move too hell of a lot much. That's a big rotor. See, that's a large diameter rotor. But
yeah,
still.
you have to upgrade all of it.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, the best brakes in the world are sport bikes that have the rotor on the outside, right on the diameter of the rim. Those things stop like F1 cars.
Yeah. And also, you have to cut the frame to get that wheel in there.
Yeah.
You have to rake it. It's a lot of work. One of my buddies here, DZ Customs, he actually closed down now, but he closed down for that reason because of liability.
Yeah, that down tube, it's like almost straight up.
Not only that, the top of that wheel, the fender is right on the lower triple tree. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. There can't be a lot of travel in that fork. It's got to be pretty damn rigid. And you don't have any suspension in the tire because it's a little rubber band. So you're obviously going for the look. If you're going to just cruise down the street low and slow, and that's the bike looks like.
Yeah, it's long too. Those bikes are long.
It is
a
look.
long bike. You got to see the chopper that Shaq owns.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, well, because he's just so freaking huge. Yeah,
It's like
yeah. Jesse
12
James
feet
had built
long.
him a couple
Yeah, it's crazy.
back in the day. Back in the you know, yeah, got Orange County in my head. Oh man,
He's got a extra long chopper. He's got what are those things that
Slingshot.
it's 3 wheels?
Slingshot.
Yeah. He's got one of those that's like extra long.
now on
Got a lot of
Uh,
extra long stuff.
the Martin Brothers show. What the hell's the name of their show?
Oh, I saw that
Iron
the other
Res-
night.
Iron
Yeah.
Resurrection.
I don't thank you. They're building. What's my memory, man? They're building a C10 for an ex
NBA guy, a football player.
football player. I think it was a tackle. Yeah, and the guy, they say he's like super. I mean, he doesn't. I don't know. Doesn't look super huge to me on TV, but apparently he is. He's
He
very
looked pretty big when he got in a cab.
He's a big guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was thinking when they're
His feet were
showing the
sticking out
cab,
past the firewall.
and his feet were down in the engine bay, and they were trying to think what to do, and I was like, bump out the back, move the back, like intrude into the back, and that's what they did. I was thinking of something even bigger, but
Like
I guess
the
I could
way
be a custom
Dodge
builder
did,
too.
I don't know if they still do, but Dodge was making like crew cabs
Mhm.
that were huge cabs in the back, like a
Yeah.
limousine type.
All right.
I don't know what they called them, but
Yeah.
it was a crew cab, but it was way longer in the back than normal. So
Okay.
you had a full size door, and then you had like another 8 inches behind the door.
All right. Yeah, for storage or whatever. Yeah.
It's awesome cab.
Yeah.
Really, really big.
I just bought
Sure there's some
a
Mopar guys out there.
yeah. I just bought a 2010 F-150
Okay.
regular cab. Just really roomy, man. I was really surprised. I
Yeah.
mean, I have a lot of room in it, and I still got room behind the seat.
Good.
Mhm. Yeah, I've worked on a few of those.
Yeah, so now it's a 2-wheel drive, so definitely going into the dirt.
Mhm.
Perfect. Airbags.
And yeah, well, I don't know about airbags, but I'm gonna lower it a little bit. I needed to handle a little better. It's just it rides like a truck.
Yeah.
Throw 3,000 pounds of rocks in the back. That'll help.
Yeah, then the gas mileage, man. That thing, I could watch the needle move. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Going from a Grand Am to a truck is like, whoa.
Yeah. John, the work on the Camaro is coming along real nice, man. It's shaping up.
That thing's really starting to hustle.
You know, I finally took you texted me the pictures last week, and what I did is I finally took them and emailed them to myself. And when I looked at them on the computer, I was like, "Whoa!"
Really see what's going on.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you really couldn't see it as well on the phone. Gorgeous,
Yeah.
coming out real nice.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm working on. I'm going to mount the heat exchanger
Mhm.
this weekend.
Okay.
And flatten out some of the flanges on the firewall and get that carbon fiber cover mounted up.
Yeah, that's a nice
I
cover.
got some stuff on order that's going to show up. I'm hoping I can put the motor and transmission in next weekend,
Right.
which is cool.
Right.
I'll see if Rocco wants to fly down and help out.
Keep sending pictures.
Yeah. And then
Yeah, it's
today,
looking good.
on my way home, I got a phone call from a guy in Oklahoma
Mm-hmm.
who has a dragster that I built,
Really?
and it still has, the chassis tag and everything.
Uh-huh.
So he called the phone number, which
Oh.
is now Montana Brothers race cars
Right.
on Long Island, and they gave him my number.
Nice.
And he called me up and he wanted some information. I don't know how good you can see this.
Oh,
I can
nice.
see it. Yeah, that's got the tall
It looks
wing.
washed out here.
Yeah,
You
yeah, kinda.
actually see the color?
I saw some colors up on the wing. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
like
it is.
pink and red and yellow and
Yeah,
purplish. Very
right.
80s looking. 80s into 90s.
We built it
Yellow.
in 1997.
Oh,
It's
so, okay.
270 inch. Hold on a second here. This is horrible.
Yeah, for some reason my phone doesn't come through on the
Did
camera.
you run that? Did you drive it?
No, never drove it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, with the little front wheels. Yeah, I remember.
Yep. Bernie Shacker built this car.
Oh, Bernie. Yeah, what a sweetheart.
Bernie worked for me for about a year and a half.
What a great guy.
Yeah. So we had a
Very
customer in Puerto Rico,
Uh-huh.
and he called up and said, "Hey, I want a dragster for my son."
Mhm.
Okay, no problem. Send money.
Easy.
You know, we
built
had
a
Bernie on the show.
270 inch dragster.
No, we had Bernie on the show years ago, and I swear, I just heard that. And it's got to be the only other person who could have told me that. He talked about building a car for a guy in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
I got to dig up that show. I have to find out when that was.
Yeah, that's the car.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
it was is we built that Pro Stock Trans Am for Freddie Brown, which was the same exact paint scheme you just saw. And then 2 years after he owned the car, we ran it in Pro Stock. He sold it to a guy, Jose Torres, in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And at the time, 1997 or 96, no car in Puerto Rico had ever broken into the 6-second zone or gone over 200 miles an hour. No door slammer.
Yeah.
And he bought that car under the premise that we could be the first, which we knew because the car was running like 650s here in America.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he brought in, we took the trailer to Jersey. They put it on a boat. It went to Puerto Rico. They unloaded it on their end. They flew me and Freddie and the whole team to Puerto Rico. And we went to a race that had a bunch of other local top sportsmen and pro mod cars. And right off the trailer, the car went a 692 at like 211 miles an hour.
Sweet.
And, so he was ecstatic, and
Oh,
it was
sure.
the fastest car on the island. And and then they would fly us in like every couple of months to actually race the car for him.
Okay.
It was the best job in the world.
Yeah.
We stayed at the Hilton Hotel. It was just total great.
Yeah, it's great when you got a money guy.
Phenomenal. Yeah, and then he
Yeah.
called up and said he wanted a car for his son.
Right.
And from what I'm told, the kid never drove the car.
Wow.
We sent it down there. Somebody else made a couple of laps in it. They parked it, and then they sold it. It wound up it was in Florida for a while. It went to Denver. Now it's in Oklahoma.
Okay.
I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool to have stuff come back from years later to
Yeah.
visit you.
I've had people find me on Facebook, with the Chassis Connection page. We built a Pro Mod 69 Chevelle for a guy that owned a speed shop in New Jersey. The car is now in Northwest Canada.
Wow.
And it's winning races.
Cool.
And the wife, I don't know, she just happened to find Chassis Connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was like, oh my God, we have this car that you built. So,
Hey, John, that might be a cool podcast or a YouTube channel to go find all the cars you built.
Find cars. Yeah, that would be awesome. That's a
Yeah, that'd
good
be pretty
idea.
cool.
It's like Tom Cotter, the barn find hunter.
Yeah, but you're going to find your own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing I think you'd have to do is you'd have to kind of salt it. You'd have to find them first and then build the show around it. So,
Exactly.
because you could go, months without finding a damn thing.
Oh, yeah.
So you'd have to
Absolutely.
do a little legwork.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be
Yeah,
cool.
I would have to promote the page way more than I do.
Yeah.
Like on the page, it says if you own a car that we built or somebody that does. And I leave it open that anybody can post photos on there. So
Yeah.
I'm like, post photos, tell me stories, let me know what's going on.
Mhm.
So we found a
Cool.
couple of them, maybe 5 or 6, but there was
That's
like
cool.
90.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're out there somewhere.
A number of years ago, 8-9 years ago, I had an old girlfriend find me through the radio show. So
Had that.
you'd rather find an old car sometimes, but and it was funny because a nice Italian girl, and we had an email exchange going back and forth, and it just happens to be the girl that I was dating when I kind of hooked up with my then to be wife, but so I broke up with her to go with the other one, but so we had this email thing going, and I showed my wife all the emails. I printed them out and showed her everything. It was full disclosure. I wasn't hiding shit because I wasn't going back to her or nothing, so I wasn't worried about it. But it got to the point where that part of that conversation of like, gee, whatever happened? I don't know why we ever broke up. I'm like, what? You psycho bitch, you don't know what? And I would tell her things that she did and said, and you could see, even though it was an email, she heartfeltly said, did I really do that? Did I really say that? And I was like, yeah, you really did.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm like, yeah, you have to be sorry.
Women's.
We took care of it. We fixed the glitch. It's all right.
Unreal.
Hey, I pulled up the YouTube channel
Yeah.
to show everybody that we have all the previous shows, not all of them, but a lot of the previous shows on.
Nice.
So you can go back and reminisce, see videos.
Yeah, I gotta check because I have the channel saved. You know, I tell you something. I talk to my social media guy about this all the time. All the different platforms come through differently on different devices.
Mm-hmm.
In case in point, I sit in my chair with my tablet and with my phone, and they're both Androids, and I'll check Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see feeds on one that I don't see on the other.
Yep. Is
And
that
I'm
crazy?
subscribed to them both. And so I was going to say, when I watch YouTube on my TV, and I have the Plane in Traffic YouTube channel, but there's like one video. It's a current one. You put it up a few weeks ago, but I haven't seen all of this. So that's not coming through on that. And it may come through on my phone. So,
Well, actually, if you go to the homepage, it only has like maybe 6 up. But if you go to videos, then it shows them all. See up here on the top where it has videos?
yeah. And sometimes you can go, like I get a thing on my TV where I can visit the channel. And that's another one. So let me see here.
So here's the Martin Brothers. They're up to 10,000 views, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
That's nice.
Or the Martins with Amanda and Joe.
Right. Let's see.
And I have a lot more I need to move over here from the other systems. So I have to really sit down. So I'm in a project right now, so I'm stuck this month. But next month I'm gonna try to get it all set up where we have them all.
See, on my phone I see them all. Yeah, I can see them all on the phone.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, if everybody could share our page. Oh yeah, you see us live right here?
Yeah.
This is us right now.
Yep.
So if you click on that, you'll see us. But if everybody could share this so we can get the subscription number up, would be cool.
Yeah.
We might even get a T-shirt going on.
Nice.
I owe John a T-shirt. I told him I was gonna give him one. I gotta get your address, John.
Okay.
I just wear hamburger T-shirts.
Yeah, that's a great shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was checking that out.
That's a
I
new one.
love
It's got
White
the-
Castle.
Me too. I got a bunch of White Castle stuff. I got mugs. I got a big cup. I got my I gave my other shirt to my daughter because it doesn't fit anymore. So
Some
I gave
people don't understand White Castle.
I know. Or they,
People all the time, they have no clue.
or usually what I get is even from around here, like, oh my God, belly bombs, how can you eat that? Like, I go to the one in Hempstead. I go maybe once like every 3-4 months.
Yeah, you don't eat them all the time.
No, I mean, I went like about 4 weeks because I had to go down that way to do something. I said, let me stop. And and then it really tastes good because you're not
Sure.
overdoing it,
4 double cheese, large Coke, large fries.
There you go. Yeah.
Done.
Thick shakes are good too. They stay
Oh,
thick
yeah,
for like
yeah,
half a
too.
day. You can.
Hey, I wanted to. I see Papa Squirrel just jumped in. I wanted to. Papa Squirrel, do you want to jump in because he had an accident a couple weeks ago and
Oh, shit.
yeah, it was pretty bad, man. And I want to see how he's doing. How you doing, Papa Squirrel? You feeling better and all that good stuff? He was fighting 5 ninjas, and the last ninja got him.
Yeah.
So he
It's
did
always
well.
the 5th one. 4 you can do. You can.
Yeah, the 5th one is always the 5th guy to get you.
Yeah. It's
All right, he's gonna
umami.
jump in.
Oh, John, I brought this down. We were talking about this a while ago. This is that Bendaflex brake line,
Yeah.
the Cooper nickel stuff.
That's
This
nice.
was a piece that I had made for the car that I didn't use, but I bent it around a can. It was just so
Wow.
easy to bend, and you can, unbend it just as easy. This stuff is just
That might be.
That's pretty nice.
I used
that's the
like the
stuff.
real hard line stuff
right.
for what I did along the frame.
Yeah.
But maybe that might be the way to go
Sure.
from the master cylinder with a coil down to the
Yeah.
line lock. Real nice.
What is the name of that stuff?
It's the trade name is called Bendaflex, but on the roll of it, it has a tag and says Cooper and nickel, which means it's copper and nickel. It's a high copper nickel content, so that's what makes it so soft.
Mhm.
I got like a 25-foot roll at the auto parts store, and you can flare it. It's easy to double flare because it's soft. It takes regular flare.
Well, the stuff I'm doing is all 37-degree single flare
Yeah.
because it uses you put the nut on the tube nut, you slide a a backing collar that's the size of the tube, and then it has a 37-degree flare inside it.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
is
yeah.
actually real thick.
Yeah.
And then you do a single 37. I had to buy a special, flare kit for 37. Do a 37-degree flare, and then you slide that support up, and then you go to your AN fitting and you put the nuts on. So we do all the racing brakes in 37-degree, no double flares.
Right. Okay.
Scott asked if you can get it in different colors.
This stuff I've only seen it in that copper color because it is copper, but there is another line on the market that comes in either it's like a battleship gray or a black coating. And that's kind of slick too. I've seen that in the parts store. I haven't used it yet. Well, actually, I did use a piece of the gray stuff at the shop. And again, it was not quite as soft as this, but it was pretty damn soft.
Can you get it at Napa or AutoZone, anywhere?
Yeah, I got it at my local place who's an independent, so I'm sure the big guys would have it too. Yeah.
Right.
And Amazon. They even sell it on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might do that for the Cadillac because I want to. If I touch it, I'm going to change it. You know what I mean? I'm there.
And like John said, like from a master down to some other devices, that's where the lines will flex. So these will flex even.
Yeah, where
nicer.
you're going to put that little curly deal.
Right.
That's a lot easier.
Yeah.
I have a really good bender though that I can. You can put a bend and then slide it through and then continue, and you can actually make a coil.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I watch TV and I steal the tricks from those guys, like bending things over pipes. And I was doing some metal work on the floor, and I'm like, I had to make like a rounded. I'm like, what am I going to use? So I had a trailer hitch ball. I'm like, perfect. So whacking that thing with a ball peen hammer, beautiful. Nice rounded indents. So, it's kind of like redneck engineering, but it works.
Yeah, as long as it works.
Yeah.
I find all kinds of stuff on the internet and on Facebook. I have like a photo file of pictures of cars that I've seen on Facebook that I've downloaded and split it up into like chassis, wings, interiors and stuff, all for the rebuild of the Trans Am as like reference files. Because I've seen some really cool, like newer style chassis designs that some of these guys are using. And I'm like, oh, I like that. I like this. So
right.
I'm gonna
hey, anybody in the chat room? Anybody in the chat room want to jump in?
It's like having a folder for.
Was coming in. He said yes.
It's like having a folder for legs and breastises and behinds.
Breastises.
You got all your nice little different fold. I know what you mean. Yeah, that's. I got you.
Okay, I'm letting Scott in. Papa Squirrel says he's in public somewhere, so he.
Okay.
He doesn't want us to be
Scott
seen on his public computer. I know. He doesn't want his known accomplices, right?
He's in a coffee house.
Yeah, who the hell are you? Those guys you're hanging out with? You can't stay here.
Hey, Scott, what's happening?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey,
What
Scott.
up, man?
You're at home. You're not in the garage?
No, I got the heat off down there.
That's a lamp.
Well, glad to see you, bro.
What's up with my phone here?
I don't know.
It's rotating.
Standing regular straight up like that. That's fine.
So what's going on, Lewis?
So, man, I got so many projects going. I need to hire 3 more of me. You know what I mean?
Hard part.
Join the club.
I got projects, man, and I'm working on this house. There's this whole bunch of I get myself into rabbit holes, man. I could just do something simple, but once I start taking it apart, I'm like, well, maybe I should, and that's it.
Yep.
That's the nature of the beast. Yeah.
So I bought this F-150, and a week before that, I bought my wife a Cadillac SRX. Yeah,
Smart
SRX.
move. Get the caddy first.
So yeah, I got the caddy first, and I was like, babe, I need a truck.
Sure, I don't care. I got a caddy.
Yeah. And so today we had a snow day, so she didn't have to work because she's a teacher.
Right.
So I stole her car. I'm like, I'm out.
God, we don't have snow days here.
Yeah.
Shut up.
It's like 86 today.
Yeah. Bum.
We had rain. Yeah. And now it's
Yeah,
cold. It's
sunshine.
going to be super cold overnight.
Yeah, it's supposed to
Yeah, we're
drop.
supposed to get it tomorrow here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming from my house. It's heading your way.
Right.
Actually, it's been very mild for winter this year.
Yeah, us too.
It's been good. Yeah, I'm not complaining.
We got a
Yep.
little, like, quarter an inch last night. We haven't had any snow in February.
Mm.
Wow.
We've
Yeah,
only
that's-
had, what,
yeah, us
4
either.
storms, 3 storms? Ray, you're probably about the same, right?
we haven't even had snow. I mean, we had a dusting once, and that was about it. It was
Yeah.
really nothing to even speak of.
Us too, but we got 3 inches last night. But other than that, we haven't had any either.
Nice.
I think the most we've gotten was like 5.5 inches, 6 inches, maybe.
I'm not complaining.
Wow.
New
So,
England, I'll
guys-
take it.
So, guys, I need your advice on this truck. It rides terrible.
Buy
mean-
a Chevy.
It's a truck.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's a truck. I mean, you said it.
Yeah. So, what would you? I want to lower it, but I want it to ride a little, nicer. I don't do too much work with a truck, but when I need it, I need it. You know what I mean?
4-wheel
So,
drive or 2-wheel drive?
2-wheel drive.
Tires and shocks.
Is it got
What year
upper
is
and
it?
lower control arms, or does it have those like twin beam front
It
ends?
should have an I-beam in the front.
I don't know. I didn't even look
What
under
year
it.
is it?
It's a 2010.
Yeah.
But yeah, tires and shocks are the 2 first things that I
Yeah.
recommend people do with a truck. You could definitely get a softer, more compliant tire.
hmm
know,
Lower
and a
your air
shock.
pressure 2 or 3 pounds.
Yeah, well, because depending what you got on there, you could have 12-ply truck tires or something.
Yeah. I didn't even look, but I gotta have
And
something
is
ride.
it
smooth.
coil springs? It's not
No.
a strut.
I don't know. I didn't even look under it. I don't know.
You got to check it out. If it's a
Listen,
strut, then you got to
I
try
had
and
it
find
home.
a lowering kit for a strut setup.
Listen, I had it home for 3 days before I knew what motor was in it. The guy was like, "Here's a truck." It came in on a trade. I was like, "I'll take it. Bye." I was
There
out.
you go.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, you got to see what you have.
Yeah, I
You
gotta
know,
write it down.
It depends how it was
It's a
ordered.
coil
because-
spring with like A-arm setup. You're gonna
Yeah,
have to
that's
find the
too-
right spring.
I mean, I'm around.
Drop spindle.
I've been around a lot of the Dodges and the Silverados, and they really ride nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because people are buying them to drive. They're not buying them to use as trucks. They're buying them to
Right.
commute in, pretty much. And the Fords are still pretty much considered. Well, it all depends who you listen to. Some people say, the Fords are work trucks, and some say the Dodges are, whatever. But yeah, it could have been bought as a hardcore work truck.
Yeah, it has the 4.6 in it, gas hog. So I got to do something with that too. I don't know. What can I do with the? Can I put filters or something on it to help me with some gas?
Don't drive it.
Yeah, leave it alone.
And K&N makes an air inlet setup for that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
That'll help a little
That'll
bit.
help.
Yeah.
Yeah,
can't hurt.
Power wise,
yeah. I'll tell you what, man.
ignition.
It runs. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised at the kind of power levels they get out of small motors.
Yeah.
This rental truck that I'm in, it's
Mhm.
a V6. It's got that stupid deal where it shuts off when you're at a stoplight.
Oh, I hate that.
Stop, start.
But you can shut it
technology.
off. You can hit the button when you start the truck. But I'm amazed that, if it's a rental, so I don't care. I womp on it. It pulls
Yeah.
real hard. It pulls almost as hard as my truck's V8. So
Mm.
That's
they're
crazy.
making-
Technology is
yeah,
really.
by the way, the insurance company called today.
What'd they say?
The bill's pushing $12,000 to fix that truck.
Whoa,
Really?
nice.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It's not
Blow
my
in
money.
insulation.
They told me they had to put in a new AC condenser.
Really?
Oh, it sucked it all in the motor
It
and
was
everything. huh?
loaded with that foam.
Okay.
The guy said we weren't going to clean that out. He said, good thing is it protected the radiator.
Well, yeah.
He said, so your radiator's fine. It didn't get hit.
I just
But,
hate it the first time a sealed system is opened.
Yeah, I know.
Because sometimes it's never the same. Sometimes.
I know.
Hopefully, you won't have that problem.
That's okay. It's got a warranty. I'll bring it back. And since
Right.
it's new, if I bring it back 3 times for the same problem,
Ah.
lemon law.
Okay. There you go. Good.
I
Yeah.
got the law on my side on this one. But
Yeah.
it's a shame that they're, he also told me that they were able to actually get every single part out of GM because they were afraid they were going to, with the strike ending
Mm.
and production being way behind, that GM wasn't going to allocate parts to the repair segment.
Mm.
And that
There's
I was
a-
going to have to wind up bringing the truck back at a later date to have stuff like a grill changed or, cab lights, things like that. But he said they were able to get every single piece.
somewhere in Detroit, there's a strip truck sitting on the back lot.
Right?
And a little box
Yeah.
went to you.
Absolutely.
we found them. We found
We got him there.
them.
Hey, where's
I
Lou
don't know.
tonight?
I'm thinking they sent Sonic the Hedgehog up to the line and go,
Yeah. That, right. Absolutely.
I need this, and this, because this dude, I don't know, he may be mafia.
Got to do some shopping, right? Exactly.
So, but they're
Uh-huh.
saying it'll be finished on Wednesday of
Oh,
next
that's
week.
cool. How long has it been in? About 2 weeks?
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
A pain in the neck.
Now you're in the
So-
absolute best position you could be in, being that it's new and they got to
Yeah.
take care.
I'm gonna push Geico to see if they can keep this thing off of Carfax.
Hmm.
Yeah, because it wasn't a
That
wreck.
could be an issue, right? If you think
Right,
about
Yeah,
it,
most definitely.
you're gonna see the production date or the date the truck was bought, and then you're gonna see 3 months later that it went in for a paint job and multiple parts replacements.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I wonder if they'll do that.
I have no idea.
You might have
Not
to
like
kick
I
it.
plan on getting rid of it at any real, within the next couple of years anyway. So I'm
Yeah.
fine as
You
long as
might-
it looks awesome when I get it back. Then I'm happy.
You should have had them spray it with Tammy's clear.
Hmm.
Oh,
Well, I don't know what they do with that. I
Yeah,
can't
you-
tell them to do that.
oh yeah, you can drop it off, baby. So here, put this clear on.
It's bad enough I have to wait like 3 months and then bring it back for the ceramic coating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Al
so,
gave me-
what's so different about her clear coat?
Oh man, listen.
It's a good product.
Oh man, I'm telling
The
you.
guy
Listen,
that's going to paint the Trans Am uses her stuff. And he said it's the most awesome paint ever.
it's no joke, Ray. She sent me some clear because remember I spilled gas on my tank.
Mhm.
Well, she sent me clear to fix it. So I sprayed, I fixed it and sprayed the clear on, and it's so much thicker than the clear that was on the bike. Now I got to do the rest of it because
Wow.
I didn't wet sand it. I didn't do anything. I sprayed it on, and it's like glass.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
And is it compatible with all types of paints and all?
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
So I'm gonna wet sand.
Urethane?
Uh,
Urethane base?
I don't know.
Most likely.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, it laid down real easy and nice, and I put 2 coats on, man, and you should see how thick it is. If you look from the side, you can see it's thick.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's nice.
so I'm gonna have
What
to
do
do
they,
the
what
rest.
do they
of my-
actually paint stuff with these days from the factory?
Robots.
Is this still a base coat, clear coat thing, or is it
Yeah.
a
Oh, yeah.
shot? What are
Yep.
they
Oh, yeah.
doing?
It's all
Base
based
clear.
on clear coat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some of them are
'Cause
3
whatever
step.
they're using is strong. Because when I got back to my shop and I was, still hyperventilating over what had happened, I called Rocco with the Camaro because he owns a body shop, and I'm like, dude, what am I supposed to do with this? And he was like, take some lacquer thinner and find a spot and rub it.
Hmm.
And I found a spot on the hood, and the lacquer thinner took it off and did not touch the finish on the truck. And I'm like,
That's good.
what do they
Wow.
paint this stuff with?
Yeah. It's
Because
good.
when he told me lacquer thinner, I'm like, are you nuts?
Hmm.
He goes, no, I swear to God. He goes, take some lacquer thinner and rub it. He says it'll melt that stuff and take it off.
Oh yeah.
But I took off 2 spots, and then I said, you know what? I'm just calling the insurance company because I am not going to do this.
Yeah.
It'd be my luck that something goes wrong.
Yep. Then your warranty's hit.
Right. So I called them up right away, and I'm like, here you go. Have fun.
Yeah.
Al gave me some ideas for the truck, so I think I'm gonna call Rich from Magnaflow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exhaust is a big.
Well, it's like I always say, with all of our hot rod things still apply. It's it's intake, intake, exhaust, and fuel. It's an air. It's all the basics.
Yeah.
Before you go into the motor, then the first thing you do is cam, and then it's heads, and But yeah,
Well, I don't want
And
it
if
to
you
run
only wanted
stronger.
to get like 4 miles a gallon, you could probably, put in one of those
6.
chipsets.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
no,
not trying to get more power. I just want to get a
yeah,
little
no,
couple more miles on the gas.
yeah, free up the exhaust and let more air in.
Yeah.
I mean, the computer's going to meter everything and do all the system management. So,
Mhm.
that's going to take care of that. So, just get
How
it
about
in
one
and
of
get it
those
out.
tunes?
Yeah, don't they
Yeah.
have tune setups for more
Some of for better
mileage, less
fuel
power?
economy?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to look into it.
Not everything is to make more horsepower to go quicker.
Right.
some of those guys are getting in big trouble, especially the diesel guys.
Oh, I hate
They're
those
making
diesel
cars
dudes.
illegal, and now the government's going after half of these guys now.
Mm.
I hate these diesel
Big
trucks that
losses.
smoke.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Uh-oh. Terry's trying to get in somewhere.
Hey, Ray, I got a question for you.
Yes.
You've been around cars a long time. So I drive a 95 GMC Yukon,
Mm.
old school throttle body, OBD1, and it's got 230,000 on it. And it's got no balls. I did compression check on it. Everything's consistent. No cat, K&N filter, throttle spacer. My question is, if the camshaft was worn, would it like have a nasty smell coming out the exhaust like an old vehicle and have no balls?
No, I've never known a worn cam to make a bit nasty smell.
It smells like an old vehicle. If it's running, it's warmed up. You can't even stand near the exhaust. It stinks.
Oh, it's really, really rich?
It's almost rich, but it's not rich. It's weird.
Have
But it
you
has
been
no
able to
balls
figure
to
out
it.
what the air fuel ratio is on it? Maybe is it got O2 sensors?
Yeah, it's been replaced. The problem is it's
Yeah.
OBD1, so you can't like the check engine light will never come on for anything. So I didn't know if the camshaft was worn or after all these years, would that cause it to do different things? Because the valves aren't going to open properly.
Well, what was your compression reading? What were the compression readings like?
I can't remember, but they were consistently decent all across the board.
All right. I mean, I'm from the school. I pop a valve cover and put a dial indicator on a rocker arm, and you can measure cam lift. But yeah, you got to figure everything's worn to the same amount because of the miles that are on there.
Mhm.
They weren't particularly powerhouse engines, really.
I know. I took the 342s out. I put 373s in it too.
That's good.
And
That's good.
still, it wasn't great.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to make a difference. Put it this
I-
way, when I borrow my buddy's enclosed trailer and I pull it, the truck falls on its face. I can't even pull an empty
It's got
enclosed
no
trailer.
torque.
Yeah. I mean, the TBI setups were pretty much like the next version of like an electronic carburetor. So they weren't the end all. Obviously, they weren't the end all for fuel management because they went to ported fuel injection. But so there's that, and they've been known to wear, and the shower heads in those things actually can get very inefficient. They just dump a lot of fuel. You can just take a good visual on that. There are still some OBD1 diagnostic stuff around. I actually have one of those old monitors, the OBD1 scanners. The hell's
You
it
talk
called?
about the old Snap-on brick?
No, I don't have a brick. I have a Brain Master, and I have another one too. I can't remember the name of the other one. It's got big red LEDs on it. It was red LED display, but that was what they had back then. And then I also have the GM, the Tech One. Was the factory scanner. I have one of those. They come up. They're on eBay, and they come up used all the time. That was the way.
Matco Man's got one.
Brian
Oh,
says ProLink.
ProLink. Okay. Yeah. That's a tough one. I mean, you're dealing with something that's like, it's almost like saying, I got an F-150 truck and I want it to be like get good gas mileage. What do I do? It's like, geez, guys.
It's a whole bunch of stuff, huh?
Well, I'm actually going to Barrett Jackson in April down in
All right.
Palm Beach with some money.
I
With the
might
intent
go.
of buying something to flip. If I come across another two-door Yukon or Tahoe, then I might, and then sell this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
We might be down at that Palm Beach one.
They're
Been
comfortable.
there before. It's a good show.
They're
My
good.
father lives in that town over at Delray, so I'm going for a
Oh, yeah,
week and a
yeah.
half.
Awesome.
I need to get out of here.
Yeah. I got to get out of here.
Hey, Terry just jumped in, so I'm gonna jump off. Let Terry jump in for a little bit, and then I'll kick one of you guys off later.
Yeah, I'm gonna not be long. So, Lewis, you take care of yourself, sir.
You too.
All right.
Talk to you
Peace out.
later.
Everybody sounds like they're sick.
Oh, I just had bronchitis.
I'm kind of stuck.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
I got nasal congestion big time. I'm on antibiotics.
Yeah, a lot of stuff is
Z-Pack?
going around.
Ridiculous.
I was on that Z-Pack. Oh my God, what a difference it made.
Oh,
Now
steroids,
I'm on amoxicillin.
Oh, antibiotic.
Yeah, big time. 875s.
Oh.
Hey, we're not talking about 56 Chevys tonight.
I hate antibiotics.
Rosen, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on? I saw your buddy Ray Levine a couple weeks ago.
Really?
You know, he lives, like 15 minutes from me.
Oh, you gotta tell him I said, what's up?
I will.
What's up, brothers?
Terry,
How you guys doing?
Doing
Good.
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 I came in, I listened to the conversation a little bit. John, what happened to your truck?
Yeah, I was back in half a
Oh,
second.
you didn't
I think.
hear, huh?
No.
You're a
Okay,
few
I'm on
weeks
the
out, man.
highway coming up from Fort Myers.
Okay.
3-lane Interstate 75. I'm in the left lane. There's nobody ahead of me. Middle lane, there's a box truck about 60 feet ahead of me. And I could see it coming up. There's a cardboard carton kind of near the lane dividing line.
Okay.
Well, Jerky in the box truck hits the box. In the box, it was a case of that expanding spray foam that you use
Like
to
that you-
fill
that you-
holes in
yeah.
walls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that yellow stuff.
Yeah, like the good stuff or whatever.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. So he hits this box. All of these cans are pressurized. They explode, and my truck gets covered in good stuff foam from one
Wow.
end to the other.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm going like 75, 80 miles an hour. So it hit like an egg yolk and instantly hardened. And if he was watching what he was doing,
How
he
are they gonna
he wouldn't
remove
hit this box. What they had to tear the truck apart and repaint it and throw away the mirrors, the grill, the cab lights. There's plastic trim on the
Yeah.
GMCs around the fender openings. They couldn't get it off when every kind of solvent they tried using was actually melting the grain. out of the plastic. So they had to tear all of that stuff off. They had to repaint the roof.
I'm
They
so
had to paint
sorry.
the hood, one door, the rear quarter on the passenger side. Even the tailgate, because with all that negative pressure behind the truck,
Right.
that stuff went
Right,
and
sucked right into under the
sucked right onto the
under the
tailgate.
truck.
yeah.
Wow.
It got all over the grill, all over the headlight bezels.
That stuff
The,
is sticky as can be.
and it dries instantly at 80 miles an hour.
At 80 miles an hour.
And all over the lower air valve, the air dam. It got all inside the AC condenser.
Wow.
So they had to tear that off, put a new one on.
And how many miles on the truck?
I have like just about 5,000 miles.
New truck. Oh man. Sorry, bro. You were
It's not
handling
even
it
broken
very well.
in yet.
The
Yeah.
week before, it went back to the dealer because they got all of the freebies they give you and the warranty and stuff. So it went for a window tinting, ceramic coating, oil change, and tire rotation. And then literally like 5 days later, splat.
It's not funny, man. I feel bad, but
I know.
like I said,
Dude, someday I'll send you the video I took when I pulled off the side of the highway. Every curse word in the book.
oh, I'm sure, man.
That's worth the price
I
of admission.
sent this video to my wife because I was literally threatening to put my seatbelt on and drive the truck into the next bridge to guarantee it was a total. That's how pissed off I was.
Just
Well,
trade
well,
it in.
It was either that or torch it.
How many people did it affect? Because I would imagine you weren't the
Oh
only one.
yeah, see, here's the weird part. I was flipping out, but as I pass this mess, there's these cans, this red stuff, spinning around like pinwheels, spewing this foam.
Oh,
There's cars behind me. I didn't even bother to look at my rearview mirror to see what kind of damage these cans inflicted on the traffic behind me.
Mm.
You weren't the only insurance claim.
Oh,
I'm
not
sure.
at all. Absolutely not.
I'm sure.
And like I said, this box was sitting in the highway, so it wasn't his box.
Yeah.
But if he would have been watching where he was driving, it was a box truck.
It's
It
box
was
truck,
like one of those ones that it's like a van front, but it's got a
van
dual
front,
rear
yeah.
wheel.
Yeah.
And he
with
hit
the
it with the
mother
rear
daddy
wheel.
or something like that over it.
Big box, yeah, and he hit it with the rear tire. Just blew it out.
And he kept going, I bet.
He just kept going. Yeah. What are
Wow.
you gonna do?
What can you do?
Not my fault. You know?
No. It's because I heard it. I was like, wait a second. Did John hit something? What's up?
No.
Oh,
Ridiculous.
no, I'm sorry to hear that, man. That
Yeah, it's a shame.
yeah.
But
And how
it'll come
much
back- it'll come
damage
back
did you
nice
say
and
already?
clean. What'd you say?
How much damage already?
It's like it's like pushing 11.5 or 12 grand.
I would imagine the paint job alone would probably be something like that. You know, like a
Yeah.
So wow,
I
parts.
got no clue. I don't
Wow.
know. It's 2500 HD.
Yeah, well, like I said, the good thing is they have all the parts there. I mean, like it's a GM
Yeah.
brand new truck.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
like
it's
a
all,
56
you know,
Chevy.
Yeah.
No, and it's not like they can get
Crime.
anything out of the junkyard
Right.
because a 2019 GMC doesn't even
Yeah.
look like a 2020.
Hmm.
There's no commonality there.
Mm.
It's a completely different body style.
Wow.
So
So how long did they say it's going to take for you to get back?
I'll have it finished next Wednesday, he said.
Hmm.
So it's been like 2.5 weeks.
Mm.
Inspect it. Make sure everything's copacetic.
Oh, are you kidding me? I'll go in that thing with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I'm trucking around in a 2020 Chevy 1500.
No comparison.
Well, a 1500 to a 2500. The 1500's like my Toyota was.
Okay.
You know, they can handle X amount of weight, and
Yeah, Brian says 75% of the value it's totaled in Maryland.
Yeah, here up here I think it's about 80.
Yeah, well, I'm nowhere near that at 12
Right.
grand.
No.
You're talking
No.
about a $78,000 truck.
Mhm.
So take a lot.
Yeah. You know what?
Well, well,
That's
except
why
now,
that's why they chop it into bits to fix that thing.
right now though it's a $90,000 truck
Mm,
Yeah, right.
mm.
and counting.
And counting,
Yeah.
like John's getting his truck back.
I can't wait for it to come back. It's terrible. Today was the day I have to go to Fort Myers to take care of this jewelry store tank that we did, and also one of the old folks' homes. So the jewelry store tank is huge. It's over 500 gallons total.
Wow.
So I have a 200-gallon poly vat that I put in the bed of the truck, and I put like 150 gallons of salt water in it,
Wow.
and I do around 130-gallon water change. So
Okay.
one of my reasons for buying a 2500 is my Toyota was so wishy-washy with this weight in the bed, because this water is sloshing back,
Washing all over, and it's heavy. Yeah.
forwards, backwards. You hit the brakes, all that water slams forward
Yeah.
and then backwards. So with the 2500, you throw that thing in there and fill it up, and it would laugh at it like, yeah, right, come on.
Mhm.
Seriously?
What else you got?
Yeah, exactly. So, but I had to do that with this rental truck, and the whole way down to Fort Myers, and then there was only like 40 gallons of water left in the vat when I was done today, and the whole way back the truck's doing this,
Wow.
and I'm like, oh,
You're probably like, this is my nightmare. This is why I got bought the 2500.
Why didn't you dump the 40 gallons?
because I'll put it back into the holding vat at the shop, and it'll get used somewhere else.
Okay.
At $1.50 a gallon, I'm not dumping that stuff on the
Right.
street.
How many gallon per hour pump do you use to do those water changes?
You know what we use those they're like 1,600 gallon an hour like sump pumps. You drop them in.
Yeah.
They got a
yeah.
garden hose attachment on them.
Right.
So you clean the tank, you throw it in the tank, you pumping it. We'll do measurements, calculate stuff.
Yeah.
So I know on this tank I have to take like 16 or 17 inches of water out of it.
Yeah.
And then you just flop it around. I put the those adapters on the hose, so it's female on both ends. So all I got to do is unscrew the pump and then walk outside and stick the pump in the vat and pump it back.
Yeah. Nice.
And then other jobs that we do, we have to actually bring like 5-gallon stackable jugs on a hand truck, because like the old folks' homes, the tanks are probably about 1,000 feet away from the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to bring the water in and hand do it. It's a pain in the neck, but they pay.
Mhm.
Hey, Hey, I'm gonna let you guys go. I gotta take care of a couple things and go to bed soon.
All right, Scott.
All right, good
Take
seeing
care,
you, man.
everyone. Lewis,
All
you
right.
kick back on. Bye, guys.
Take care, Scott. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Now Scott was saying something about his cam or his car is smelling up.
yeah, he says it stinks like an old car, and I went,
Uh,
okay.
Mm.
I have to
I don't know
smell
what he
that
means
one
by that.
myself. to
But he said,
know.
is it got cat? We didn't ask him. I
He
was
said
like,
no. He
"Cat."
said it doesn't have a cat. He
That's
said it doesn't
weird.
have a cat. So I guess it was removed because it's a 95.
I mean, when he
thought
says
said it
old
had a
car, does he
cat
mean like an
back
old
and
car
forth.
as far as like running rich or?
Yeah, I kind of think that's what he was leading.
Yeah,
to.
we really didn't get
Runs
that far.
fat.
Yeah, we didn't get that far into it to know.
Because I could see that if the cam is worn somewhat. I mean, like it mess up some of the valves, and I don't know. I mean,
Well, that's why I mentioned the throttle body. I mean, the TBIs, those shower heads wear and they just dump.
yes,
fuel,
there's not a whole lot of fuel in there, but
Yeah.
but as far as because I was thinking when he said smelling, I was like, I wonder if it's like an old, like 68,
No.
GM smell, that headliner and rug.
Old socks.
Yeah.
But he said the O2 sensors are good. So I don't know. It's weird. I've had some experience with those motors. Like I had a girlfriend she had a late 80s or something Corvette. And
Garbage.
yeah, she was messing around with this thing. And
The crossfire injection.
Ceasefire
It's-
injection.
no, it wasn't a crossfire. It was the kind that had that odd manifold with the runners.
Mhm.
Oh, the
It was
TPI.
throttle body.
Yeah,
Yeah,
TPI.
drop body, yeah.
It was a throttle body vet.
Mhm.
And with the knock sensors and the computer, you could take the distributor and roll that thing like 30 degrees of timing off from where it should be, and the motor would still run
Wow.
because the computer would compensate for it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. She was
Well,
a
yeah,
car chick, and she was messing with this thing,
that's
and
the
the
cool.
timing was totally off. And she calls me up, and she's like, "The vet's running, but it doesn't have any power."
Now, that's what they call the EST distributors, electronic spark timing. Had the 7-pin module in it instead of a 4. Except they went to the 5 and the 7, and it was all done by the computer. Yeah, you really just set base timing, and then that was it. You set it, and that's you just leave it like top dead center, and then the computer did everything.
Right. Well, she had the distributor twisted, way out of line, and it was
Yeah, that was-
running, but it had no
yeah, I mean,
power.
it
I
was-
came by, I static timed it, and
Yeah.
wow, woke up. So I don't know. Maybe he's got some sort of timing issue.
That's the thing, and this is what happens like with the radio show. You get people to call in, and I had a guy ask me a question about his brakes, and he's so like he wants an answer, and I'm telling the guy, listen, I need to have this thing in front of me. Like at some point, you have to see and feel and be able to like interact with it. You can't just Kreskin the freaking thing. It's like I can give you ideas.
By
like,
noises.
You're pushing me for an answer. It's like I can't give you a definitive answer.
But it's
People don't
making this sound. Tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I know what you mean.
Al Handy says maybe he's slacking a timing chain.
With
something we didn't
mileage,
talk about either.
sure. That's
Yeah. What did he say? Had over
Cam
200
timing.
off?
Yeah,
Sure.
200 and something. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you do the old trick. You put a brake bar on a crank, pull distributor cap, and as you rock the crank, you look at the rotor and you see how many degrees difference there are. I mean, you could have 20, 30 degrees of movement with a bad timing chain before that
Easy.
rotor
Yeah.
moves.
Yeah, easy.
So you do the easy stuff first. Obviously, but with a motor like that, with all the miles, anything is
Anything, exactly. I doubt
Anything
it's
and
timing chain because that vet wasn't making power then, so I don't think that timing chain was stretched.
No, even in Scott's truck, same thing, same idea.
Hey, I found some programmers, bully dog programmers
Oh, cool.
There you go.
for my truck, so I might be able to tinker with it.
Hey, what's up, Bruce? Man, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How you making out?
Chilling.
Hey, I had to say your YouTube thumbnails are looking great.
You see that? Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yep. I need to, I give people advice to do that, and I haven't done it to myself.
Yeah, you got to hook up the thumbnails,
Yeah.
And I was just like, like I said, I got over 180 videos, so I had to go back into.
Yep.
So I'm starting from the top down, going all the way down.
Yeah.
and
Video.
still put new stuff out, because I got a couple new stuff out that you guys are gonna like. You guys are gonna like coming out.
Cool, man.
Hey, I got a question for you guys. What do you think about? I have 4 years of content, so I want to go back. What would you think if I took like from some of the major interviews that we've had?
Put it all together.
Well, no, just take a clip of maybe a couple of questions and put those in YouTube format. Like maybe a 2-minute, 3-minute spot.
Oh, okay. Somebody asks a question and then somebody answers the question, and then we move to another subject.
Yeah.
Question and answer video.
I like short videos.
Info's good.
The issue is on this channel, just like on my show, there are no short answers. We
Yeah.
can kill something for a freaking hour, man. So yeah, I like the concept of it. I do. I like the idea.
So I was thinking maybe put some shorts in like that, maybe a 2 or 3 minute segment of, like, let's say the Martins, grab a couple of their questions that we've asked them and put them on. And then if anybody wants to see the full episode, then they can just,
Oh yeah, sure.
go
right?
to the
'Cause you can always
playlist.
Put a little graphic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
You're gonna have
Yeah, a full episode.
you're gonna have to scrub it because a lot of times, with this show, it's just conversation. There
Mhm.
aren't always a lot of hard Q&A type of things, so you have to find them. But yeah,
Right.
if you, yeah. it's not
Well,
bad.
it will be a laid back, what do you call it? A laid back
Rip Hotway.
view of that celebrity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
So that's what I was
Do a
thinking.
best of.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's like what we do with the radio show. We do like a best of, every year, and it kind of like just revisits all of those, the calls that had something that were kind of memorable or popped.
Okay.
I like
You know.
that idea.
Well, next month I'll work on that.
Always got to have like the best of. I try to do mine during the end, but I didn't do one last year.
See, we do ours on Mother's Day, and the reason
I can do it
why-
on Mother's Day. I can do it on Valentine's Day.
the reason we do it is back in the day we could never get a guest on Mother's Day because it was a Sunday, so we did like a Mother's Day show. Now we've made a thing out of it, and we stole the idea from BAB. Jerry Marty used this thing, Jerry's Gin Joint, every Friday afternoon on BAB.
Yes.
Shows at 4:00, and you'd hear him, and in the background you hear like glasses clinking in conversation, like he was at a bar somewhere. He was in the studio. He ran a
It
track.
was just a loop.
So yeah, so I got a loop, and I basically found what he used and I stole it. We just run that in the background and we say, hey, we're an undisclosed location. All our friends are here. We hear like, hey, Chassis John, I heard came in from out of state. You'll hear it this year. I hear he came in from Florida. We just play it up. It's theater of the mind. That's what we're talking about, John.
Okay.
Yeah.
People believe it every year. They're like, yo, dude, you got to tell me how do I find out where that party is? How do I get
party's
invited?
at? Yeah.
How do I get invited? Like, it's a
it's
special
private.
thing. Yeah, it's really.
That's
But,
pretty sick.
believe it, in the background, sounds like there's about 150, 200 people there. Oh yeah, so few. But
That's
so
great.
it's so fun, and then we just highlight those calls during the year that were. I always try to find something that was funny or
Mhm.
ended with a crazy statement. Something that's going to be interesting, not just milk toast stuff like yes, we rebuild.
Put the drum session on. Put the drum session on.
I got some drum stories for you tonight, boys. Let me tell you, I made a connection. Oh, yeah.
Well,
Anyway.
okay. Well, if anybody in the chat room or Facebook or YouTube have any ideas that we can add into Planet Traffic, please let me know. I'm open to suggestions.
Al Handy wants to know why you never invite him.
Oh, Al's gonna be. He may make Mother's Day. Yeah, we'll see. I'll have to let him know.
Who's the question for? Me? You want to jump in now?
It
Or
was for Ray.
talking
Yeah,
about
he
Ray?
won't-
Okay.
For Mother's Day, yeah, and that's
Oh, okay.
coming up. That's May. Yeah, so I'm. I compile. So what I do is every week, like I do the show Sunday. I listen to it on Monday, and I make notes. I notate the timestamps of when something is good. Then I go back in and edit it out, pull it out, put it in a separate file, and I just scrub through them. At the end of the year to find good stuff for promos and. Also,
Yeah.
it's amazing the stuff that happens. That even here, the things that are said that you forget about. It's like a lot of stuff goes on, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely.
All right. Sounds good. I'll work on it.
Right. Yeah, and you'll have fun doing it too. Because once you start revisiting those shows, you're like, "Wow, I forgot about this." Like, yo, man.
Yeah.
And like me, like you don't hear it the first time because you're in the middle of it. It's like, then you
Mhm.
catch it and you're like, "Wow, yeah, where was I? Was I there? Yeah, I heard my voice."
Was I there? I heard my voice.
I
Background partying. Yeah.
I was there.
know it was.
Cool. Wait, fellas, I got an early start in the morning, so I'm gonna jump
Yeah,
off,
Same here.
and you guys can do your
Somewhere. I don't know where it is.
yeah. You guys can do your after party drum session.
Yeah, I got some good stuff to talk about tonight.
Yeah. Well, hey everybody on Facebook and YouTube. I really appreciate everybody's support, and please share it. Let people know what we're doing. We do it every Thursday night, 9:00 Eastern time, and you never know who's going to pop in. I have a lot of people on my list. It's just getting them here. Just got to work it out. Terry has some people he wants to get on in a couple weeks, so we're going to keep it popping.
Nice.
We're gonna try to get Ryan Schneider down at Performer Built. We're gonna try to get Ed Gomez from Pro Edge Tuning. He's gonna give us like a little session on tuning. That's gonna be cool. That's gonna be cool because we're gonna actually do a session with him tuning my truck.
Oh, cool.
Nice. Nice.
Cool.
And what's it called? That we're looking forward to that one. I am because I want to know what kind of power that truck's gonna be pushing.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm
I
curious.
can't wait. Yeah.
A lot of nice work to that truck. Yeah.
It's been a while. Jesus, it's been over a year.
Yeah.
The truck been down because you know what happened? It almost was. I put the all-wheel drive transmission back in, had it back in. Like maybe 3 weeks after it happened, and then what happened was I realized the front diff busted.
Mm.
So I was getting ready to put the front drive shaft back in, and I was just like, waiting for my buddy to pass it to me. I was under the truck, and I saw the little U joint. I was like, let me just spin this thing, and I was like, this shouldn't be spinning. And the front wheel was locked.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be spinning.
Yeah.
And so I took off maybe 4 weeks just to make a decision, just doing research. Do I want to change this back to an all-wheel, or do I want to make it a rear-wheel drive? Weighing the pros and cons and everything like that. I was just like, and one of my buddies from Chicago, he says, Terry, my wife, she drives a rear-wheel drive Trailblazer every day in Chicago. If you drive like you got sense, you put maybe a salt bag or two in the back and you have snow tires, you'll get through in 8 inches of snow.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said to myself, there's 300. Last year, we had maybe 5 days
snow.
that, you were stranded where, or you had to stay home or something like that. And I was thinking, they're 365 days.
Yeah.
So 360 days.
Pretty good.
Rear-wheel drive fun.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and now, what's it called with the rear-wheel drive, you get better gas mileage, and I can't wait to drive the truck.
That's what I said about this F-150. It's 2-wheel drive, and the guy looked at me crazy. He goes, "You want that?" I'm like, "Give it here."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you got an F-150?
Yeah, I got a
Jesus, I didn't know that. What's up?
2010. Huh?
We're gonna put LS in it.
Hey, it has a 4.6 in it that runs, man. It's a beast.
Is it a dual overhead or no?
I don't know.
He didn't even open the hood.
I didn't open the hood. Terry, listen. I had the truck home for 2-3 days before I even knew what motor was in it.
Yeah,
What year is
the
this?
4.6 is cool overhead.
It's 2010.
Probably
F-150.
single overhead. Probably single overhead.
Yeah.
No,
so,
it's dual. Yeah, that's it's the motor I did the cam swaps in the Mustang. It's the same platform.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I got 4 cams. I have a Lincoln Mark 8, and I had 4 cams.
Yeah.
Well, this is the
That's cool.
motor that they switched the 5.0. They started putting the 4.6 in
460.
to take the place of it.
Because I know they made a single overhead and they made a dual overhead, but that Lincoln Mark 8, that's gonna be a project down the road. That's gonna have an LS with a 6-speed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be upsetting people.
Yeah.
Look at that. What's the matter, Chassis? Come on.
I gotta introduce you to Evan Smith's buddy Abe. He has a Beamer with a Ford motor in it.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
think it's a Coyote motor.
No.
Look
Look at this guy.
Coyote motor.
Look at Coyote. Get out of here with that Coyote, man. Come
Ridiculous.
on.
There,
Oh,
hey,
They got that new Ford motor. What's that new Ford motor that's coming out?
Coyote motor.
Is
It
there
is
a
out.
revamp of the Coyote?
It is out. It's not. Well, I think of the one you're talking about. The one everyone was talking about. There's a new one. Yeah, I don't remember what they call it. It's got
Yeah,
some
there's a
name.
new one coming out. It's smaller than the Coyote. I think it's their answer to the LS because they're missing the boat.
Oh,
yeah.
it's that truck motor. You talking about the truck
Yeah.
motor?
I think
Evan's got a bunch of videos of a guy that built up one of these truck motors and they dyno it and the whole deal. And he's talking about all of the good points. And when I got the link to it and I started watching it, I sent him a text. I'm like, "Is this supposed to be Ford's LS?" And he goes,
I think
"Not
it's their answer.
really."
I think it's their answer. Their answer.
Yeah,
to
I asked him if it was the answer to the LS because it's a truck motor. They're inexpensive. They make a lot of horsepower. They're built real strong. But he said not really.
Mm.
And he's the Ford guy.
He's a Ford guy.
yeah, it's
He
gonna be hard
knows.
to mess with the LS right now for a minute.
And I don't think it's going anywhere, even though the LT is making a strong try. But I mean, when it comes down to those engines, 700 horsepower, it doesn't matter, and it's just a matter if you want to pay, $4,000 or pay, $14,000 with that LT. So it's
Yeah, you got over 20 years of production of parts to
Right.
always out the wazoo.
it's too
so-
easy just to go to the junkyard instead of going. But I mean, you got some guys who have the deep wallets. They're just like, you know what? Let me get the LT4. Drop $19,000 on a block.
Right.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
Yeah, I hear you.
Not unless
My
it's
LSD
aluminum.
superchargers.
Old school
You'll
big block.
see the 69 Camaro come back to the shop soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm revamping that whole thing. I'm getting all the parts. I'm doing a 4-link suspension, and I'm also doing coilovers all over. So that's
Nice.
Good for you.
Nice.
Nice.
well,
No.
I mean, you know what happened? I had a buddy who, the guy Nelson. He has a buddy who has 69 Camaro, and Nelson redid his whole 69 Camaro. He walks into the shop one day and sees a car that's lowered on the ground with airbags. And Nelson, he was here to pick his car up, the way I hear the story told. And he saw the car and he was just like, whatever you got to do to my car to drop on the ground like that and pop up, whatever, do it. So I bought all that stuff that he took off because he had to replace everything now.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah. See, like that stuff that I'm doing on that 67, that's all from Chris Alston Chassis Works.
See, that's what I'm going when I'm going with the back end like that.
And it's all set up. If Rocco one day decides he doesn't want coilovers front and back, he could just unbolt them and he can bolt in the air system.
The air system, yep.
They have the front and back air system and they bolt in. So
Yeah.
Chris did his homework.
Oh, Chris,
And
that's good
set
stuff.
everything up. So if you want to go air, you go air. You want to go coilover, you go coilover. And you're not changing anything. You're just physically taking out the coilovers, putting in the air system, run the lines, the pump, and the tank, and you're ready to go.
I'm trying to decide if I want to go with a mini tub in that 69.
Mini tub's awesome on those cars.
I got a
Big
10-inch.
tire.
I got a 10-inch with wheel back there now. I mean,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really rub.
Nah, well, I put 11s on his with I'm not sure what size tire it is, but it's huge. It's about 14 inches
Wow.
in width. Yeah, sidewall to sidewall.
And you did a mini tub on that?
Yeah, it's got Chris's mini tub system in it.
Really? Maybe I
It's
should.
a lot of hacking. Let me tell you something.
That's
It's
what
a
I
lot
know.
of hack work. And then you got to go back in and strengthen the chassis, but it gives you all of that stuff. If you go with his canted 4-link system
Right.
and the mini tubs, everything comes in a package.
Think
So
about it.
you got there's
about it.
templates. I mean, he even gives you laser cut steel pieces that you put on the chassis and trace the line.
Hmm.
Then
And
you
cut it out
with
and-
your- cut them with your plasma cutter, close, and then just grind them until everything fits, and then the tubs just drop in, and then you spot weld them, move on to the
Really?
next thing. Oh yeah. It was a pretty easy system. I mean, I've done it for years, but it was very well engineered. He needs to update his instructions though, because his instruction book is based on his early stuff, so a lot of crap doesn't match.
Hmm.
Hey, did
Right.
you hear how he just threw in plasma cutter? Like
Yes.
everybody has one.
Yeah.
My
Oh
plasma
yeah, he has
cutter's
plasma
cheap.
cutter.
That's true.
Dude, my plasma cutter. I bought a plasma cutter from Eastwood.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It cost me like, I don't know. I think it was like $550 or something, $600.
All right.
Got
I
it
got
on
mine.
sale.
Yeah, I got mine from off line somewhere for like $150 or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I bought
And
it brand new. It's the biggest one they make. It's a 200 amp.
Hmm.
It works flawlessly.
I see. What happened was I'd used what's called a 110, like a regular house outlet.
Mine does both.
220, it was like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Watch out, kids.
I have a dedicated 50 amp 220 outlet in the garage for the welder, and I use it for the plasma cutter also.
Yeah, because in the garage shop I have a outlet like a dryer, I guess it is. The
Yeah,
weird
it looks like a
looking-
dryer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's they make a
30
30 and they also make a 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hooked that up to the plasma cutter. It was something different, man. I was like, this is what I'm talking about. Oh man. Gentlemen, I must be heading off because like I said, I want to try to find some dinner. You know, I got my Gatorade, but it's not enough.
All right.
Wow, late dinner, man.
Go
I
hunting.
know. Yeah, I got home late. Yeah,
Thanks for jumping in.
Yeah.
And we'll talk this week. You know,
Yes.
get something going.
Yeah,
I'm gonna jump off too. Who wants to jump in? Brian, I know he wants to jump in, and anybody else wants to jump in. You're more than welcome. Just try to keep it safe.
Yeah. We'll be safe.
All right,
So my
fellas.
brothers, until we see each other again, be easy.
All right,
Yes,
guys.
sir.
Good night.
Catch
Terry.
you later.
All right.
All right. See you guys next week.
All righty.
Oh yeah. So, where were we?
I don't know.
I sent you a link this week to.
Oh yeah, I saw the email, but I didn't read it yet, so I will tonight when we get off.
It's not much to read. I reconnected with the guy that I've talked about for
your drum
years,
teacher.
who taught me, who was my drum mentor. And
Right.
what happened was, it's the funniest thing in the world how this stuff. I highly recommend people. Hey, Brian,
It's the big bear.
highly recommend people follow up on those little cues in life that drop into your lap. Last Friday, I'm at work, and I get an email from legacy.com. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Like when somebody dies, they put the obituary up. You can go to legacy.com, and then so if you're out of state and you knew the person, you can write a little blurb about them, and something nice, and it goes into a log. So it was one of the neighbors from the neighborhood where I grew up. It was this guy's father, and I think he died in it was 05 or 15, I forget. Anyway, and I saw what I wrote. I'm like, oh yeah, that was nice. Wow, that was pretty cool, and reminded me that I had looked up this guy Tom years ago, and I couldn't find him. I knew that he went upstate. I know he was obviously this guy was a music virtuoso. I knew he had a big career. I knew he became a teacher, a music teacher. I couldn't find anything on him, probably because he didn't have a site. Well, now I look him up and bang, TomVenable.com. There it is. There's his site. And you want to talk about just wall-to-wall drums.
Oh yeah.
Like everything is cymbals. Let me tell you something.
I'll
this
check
guy-
that out tonight.
He stayed the real deal, just like I knew him to be. He is like bona fide. He's sponsored by Yamaha, but he's like a dyed-in-the-wool early Ludwig Zildjian guy. He hasn't changed a fucking thing in 45 years.
Holy
So
shit.
I wrote to him and said, "Hey, listen, this is the deal. I found this thing for your dad, and I don't know how this guy, if he's gonna, if he's gonna even want to talk to me." But I figured, doing a radio show for so long, I learned how to get people's attention. And I said, okay, I got to poke him. So I said, Tom, I just want to let you know that even though we haven't seen each other in 45 years, I have to say you're one of the 5 most influential people that's been in my life.
Cool.
And I didn't say why. And he gets back to me. So we have a phone conversation last Sunday night for like 2 hours. I told him, really, I mean, the drums was one thing. I said, I kind of fell short on that because I didn't stay with it like I wanted to. And now I want to get back into it more. I said, but it was really the music. It was the music that he turned me on to that I stayed with my whole life.
Right.
So the guy, like I said, he became, at 15, he was playing with guys in the city. That's why I lost track with him back then, because every weekend he was in the city. He was playing with guys from the Tonight Show Orchestra, guys from all sorts of big band orchestras. It's all on his site.
That's
Then he went
awesome.
up, became a music teacher. He's retired from that already. And he does gigs like every night. So he does his site. I'm trying to get him to do some stuff because he does drum videos with mostly snare stuff, but he says to me, you know, I said, look, I got this cheap set of drums now. I said, it's a piece of shit. It's really pissing me off. I said, he goes, oh, so you need a set? I'm like, yeah, I do. He goes, I got like 8 of them. And he says, do you like silver or gold? And I actually said silver, but I changed my mind to gold because that's the color I'm painting my car. Ludwig, all early, like pre-70s Ludwigs. That's all this guy. And he tells me, he goes, he goes, you know, I got a lot of BR drums. He goes, you know what BR drums are? I'm like, no, I never try and bullshit a guy. It's like before Ringo. So, and he's telling me stories about the Beatles and Ringo snares, and this is the stuff that he likes that he's been collecting, and the A and the K Zildjians, and you know, he's all his shit is autographed. I mean, he knows the Ludwig III. You know, I mean, the guy knows everybody.
I'm friends with Ludwig III on Facebook.
Really? I said, you got to meet my friend. I said, you got to talk to my buddy John. You know? So he's just. So we're kind of like still emailing back and forth a little. We got to see what we can put together.
That was like the biggest mistake I ever made, but I was really young. You know, I dumped my drum set.
Me too.
Buy race car parts.
And I told him, I said,
I got rid of all of those original 70s
Yeah.
A's and K's.
That's what I said to him. I said, you know, that's what I regret the most. The one set that I put together, I said, Tom, it was probably from your garbage that you off-casted, but I built a set out of that. And I said, and I ended up, you know, selling it off. He goes, yeah, that stuff is just hard to find now. Yeah. But I mean, he's got mahogany, he's got maple, he's got oak, he's got all of it. You know, he's got.
Yeah, but that gold sparkle wrap is awesome.
Yeah. Then I was thinking, I started thinking like, okay, my car's going to be painted that 78 anniversary color gold, the Pontiac gold. And I'm thinking about, I was going to replicate the pinstripes, but replicate the pinstripes now in like that black flake that goes on the like a black, and do the pinstripes.
Broken glass.
Like what the drum set looks like, but just do the stripes like that. Like, oh, that'd be cool.
That'd be awesome.
So
yeah, like my first drum teacher, Tony Shadler, Tony Shea is what everybody called him. He was Gretsch Zildjian guy.
Yeah.
To the end, you know.
We were talking. You know, it became an interview, and he's a teacher, so he loves to talk. So I would just say something about, okay, what do you think about drum heads? You know, and I said, what do you think about Evans heads? So he's always been a Remo guy. You know. Yeah. So he goes, let me tell you, Remo, Evans, and there's one other company. I forget the name, but he says they're made by the same. Yeah, he said they're made by the same place. They're all made by the same.
Yeah, no, there's a drum company called Ahead.
Ahead. No, I don't think. Oh, you know, I think it was with an A. Maybe that is what it is.
Yeah, Ahead drum heads.
But it's like talking to an encyclopedia. There's nothing I couldn't ask him that he didn't have a voluminous answer to. Yeah. You know, we're talking about cymbals, we're talking about sticks, and and it was like rapid fire stuff. You know, it was like, God, this is like it's like being in drum school. I said, I wish I was in your band classes. You know, but
I haven't checked it out, but I need to probably get to the drum store and see. But I was always a Remo guy.
Yeah.
And then I went to a seminar at the local drum store, and it was an Evans thing.
Yeah.
And it was cool because, you know, Evans is based on Long Island, so it was awesome for me to be here in Tampa and talking to a guy from Hicksville.
Yeah.
You know, so but he told me that there was some differences, big differences in the way the ring is crimped.
You know,
and the glue that's on the inside, and that's what makes the differences in the heads. He says the plastic is plastic. What do you think?
A lot of his videos, he does a lot of snare videos, and he gets into the ring construction and the shell construction and the clamping force, and because he even has a Billy Cobham snare, which is a wood ring, you know, wood rings with screws. And he gets into all of that, and then he gets into the the actual snares. And I was just watching one tonight. He was showing the snares were actually German made. He says this drum, it's a Ludwig drum. He says this is one of the most collectible drums, and it got past a lot of people. And it's the way the snares fit into the bottom of the shell. He says it's the most superb fit that you'll ever see. So you get the most superb sound. You know, it's like
sure.
So yeah, it was quite a thrill.
You know, some snare drums, they actually recess the edge where the snares go.
Yeah.
So they cut away the lip to let the bed sit lower or something. I got no idea. I don't build drums.
Right.
Oh, you know what I was going to ask you? Because I haven't bothered to look it up. for years and years and years growing up, when we would go into the city to visit grandma or go to the restaurant, the family restaurant, we would always pass, when we went over to Williamsburg Bridge, the Gretsch building.
Oh, okay.
Well, I noticed when we were coming out of Manhattan, when I was coming to do your show, the Gretsch building no longer says Gretsch.
Not surprising.
Gretsch drums are no longer made in Brooklyn.
I guess not. I haven't looked them up. I haven't looked them up in a long time. A Slingerland's still made in Liverpool. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't really looked into
Didn't
it.
bother to look that one up though.
I have to research that. Yeah.
I was really surprised because it was always this kind of odd looking gray building.
Yeah.
That when you went over to Williamsburg Bridge, you couldn't miss it.
Great logo too.
It's like almost directly across the street from Peter Luger's.
Yeah, that Gretsch logo
on the
is
other
fantastic.
side of the bridge. Yeah. So you pass the Gretsch building, and it it had like a really, really old date on it, like 1902 or something like that. But I noticed when we left, when we were heading out, I saw Peter Luger's and I looked on the other side and I saw the Gretsch building and it didn't say Gretsch on it anymore.
Yeah. I guess they finally got out. Yeah. Wow.
Kind of weird.
So, Brian, you got your shorts ready? You got your Hawaiian shirts? And
man, I am ready. I can go.
When are you leaving?
1 week.
Cool.
I thought it was this weekend.
It's coming. Leave Saturday morning.
This Saturday?
Yeah.
Cool.
I thought the show was on the weekend, though.
Yeah, well, it starts Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or something like that.
Oh, they do it like that. Okay.
Yeah. They do it kind of, but
okay.
Got 1 week, and I just hope I don't kill anybody. I just I'm ready, and so
make sure you find a CEO and tell them all the good ideas you have.
Oh well, I'm hey. I don't know. They might have my picture up in the Stowe office to stay away from.
If you see this guy, run.
Yeah.
Because I started my phone conversation off. After I thought I had my route straightened out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I get a phone call. Hey, we got this little complication. We threw in all the numbers into the metric system, and it comes up saying we can't do this now.
Wow.
And I'm like, excuse me? I said the last 2 weeks I've been out reseeding a new area.
Yeah.
Well, you might want to step back for a minute.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Sounds like that Geico commercial where he's printing up those pages.
Right. What am I going to do with these?
That.
Yeah, put them in the desk drawer. Save them for later.
That's not
but
right.
I did have a good find today, man. I walked into the local hardware store. And I guess they're changing lines. But they had a lot of drill bits and taps and dies and countersinks.
Nice. Yeah.
I love those countersinks.
75% off.
Beautiful. Wow. Nice.
So I restocked the and then I restocked the my metal stuff, my taps and dies, and
nice.
They had some hardware pieces, like thread setters and stuff like that. And
nice.
I helped out we have a Worth is a company.
Yeah, Worth is the German chemicals, yeah.
Yeah,
Rostov.
Chemicals.
Rostov is the rust.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
So the guy calls me, the area sales guy. And he's like, I need this really big favor. And he goes, we delivered a 55-gallon drum of brake clean to a shop, but they don't want. And he goes, I found another guy that wants it, but they have no way of moving it. And he goes, you have a lift gate. And I said, you know what I really need? And he goes, what? I said, I need 3 of those 4-drawer metal cabinets that hold the little electrical bits in. And he said, no problem. So I picked those up tomorrow.
Nice.
Cool.
Hey, that's cool. Yeah.
So I was in the area. I swung by and I got everything on the truck. So I just rolled the 55-gallon in, took it down the street, rolled it off, Guy calls me and says, "Where do you want me to leave your drawer cabinets?" And I said, "Leave them over in Wheaton, and I'll pick them up on the way to work tomorrow."
Nice.
Cool.
That's cool. That's great.
That was a good. I keep those guys between the Worth and the BG guy happy, so I get my
Yeah.
little spoofs on chemicals.
There you go.
So,
We were using that Worth stuff for a while at the chassis shop, but it got to the point where the guy was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
The sales
Well,
guy, he'd keep coming around like every other week trying to like refill the cabinet, and I'm like, dude, just get the fuck out of here.
You might know these things that I got a box of them from Worth. It's a inline fuse holder. It's a black ceramic barrel. It's like a quarter turn.
Yep.
And I use those in my car, and I got a box of them from one of my Joe. One of his buddies had a big Worth rack, and some of the stuff they never used, and that was one of the things. Was take it. I'm like, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I got them. They're you can't really see, but buried over there in that corner cabinet.
Yeah.
I got some of those. I got a lot of that Worth. That Worth stuff's great. Yeah. My next eventual will be a nut and bolt guy. I'm crazy about nuts and bolts.
Yeah, me too. I love hardware.
Yeah.
Love hardware.
So I got I didn't need them, but they're out in the tool truck actually, but they're so big. They were 24 millimeter tap and dies. That was on its clearance.
Jeez.
And I mean the size of this stuff is like, this is awesome, dude.
That's big.
Guys like, don't you already have that? I said, yeah, but you can always have another one. For the $4, I mean, they're like normally, what was it? Something like $40 some, and it was like $5 or something.
Wow.
I couldn't walk away from that shit. I'm terrible.
Gee, $40. That's a 7/16 snap-on wrench.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a bargain.
Yeah. So, but it was good. Like I said, I love
pretty big
that stuff.
taps in left hand and right hand from when we were doing all of that stuff. You had to tap out tubes and
I just saw a video.
I mean, I have stuff that's like 1.5 inch, left and right fine thread taps.
With YouTube, shit finds you because it like looks at what you see, what you watch. And I found this video from Haas Engineering. Was it Haas Engineering?
Yeah.
Haas Industrial. And it was all about just the types of taps. And I thought I knew a lot about taps. This guy taught me more shit about taps. And of course, he had the big Haas machine behind the CNC machine, but he did it all on the bench, with hand. And it was such a great video. If I find it again, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. And there's
there's a lot. It's especially in the automated world. The fluting, the angle of the relief. There's like a bazillion things.
This guy talked about taps, and he says, the thing I want to talk about, and he had a little toy truck, a toy like a Tonka toy, a snowplow. He goes, I'm going to tell you about snowplows and taps. And I'm like, what the hell? He goes, and you're probably wondering what the correlation is. And he takes this fake snow and pours it on a bench. And he says, here's a bottoming tap. He goes, that we all use. And he says, that's your snow plow straight ahead. He just plows it through the snow, and the chips go off to both sides.
Right.
And of course, it stacks up below the tap, which will actually break a tap. So he's thinking in the CNC world, you have to account for the extra, like 4 or 5 extra threads. And then he showed a fluted tap where the snow plow would go to one side. All the chips go one way and nothing to the other. And then he says, if you're going to do, the best way to do it is with these fluted taps, and the chips come out, so there's nothing in the hole. And this is what he prefers to use. But he says, each one has their application. So I'm going to write a note right now, and I'll find it tomorrow.
You see that effect when you have a variable speed drill.
Mm-hmm.
You're using like a drill press.
Yeah.
And you can change the speed and the amount of pressure you put on the bit and the speed. And it either just drills through and makes a bunch of chips, or it sends out, streamers.
Right.
And when it's sending out the streamers, that's like the most efficient way of drilling that hole.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Everything comes up the flute, instead of chipping it and sending stuff everywhere.
Yeah. The same thing with a lathe. You get depends on the cutting tool how the chip relieves.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's was such a great video. And Haas,
I got a friend. He's like a master machinist in Northport.
Uh-huh.
he shows pictures on Facebook of all the steel wool
Yeah, yeah.
that comes off his stuff. It's ridiculous. Birds' nests, everything.
And it's funny, some of that stuff comes off. It doesn't look like it. It's hot as hell.
Oh yeah.
And I've gotten short, like cut,
And
like
sharp as
razor.
fuck.
Yeah, I've gotten razor blade cuts off of that stuff
yeah.
too. So yeah,
Try
you gotta.
messing around with titanium.
Oh yeah, you got to really.
Drill a hole in, like we used to have to, drill access holes, things like that in the titanium bell housings. Do not go near that hole for like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
The heat just stays there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't drill something in titanium and then pick it up.
Yeah, I can't wait when I go to when I get to the show. The name just there's a guy that does all of our burrs and metal cutting, and he always has something new. And man, when I go see Scott and tell him what's new, he says, "Come here." And we go back in the corner and drill holes and shit. I mean, it's like it's a fun time, make a mess down there. So I can't wait to see. He came out with some burr cutting for like stainless steel and titanium stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuff, man, like you said, it's crazy when you're cutting that stuff or playing around.
Oh
Yeah.
Every time we go to SEMA and the occasional times we go to PRI, I always go down to like Machinery Alley.
Yeah.
That's where all the action is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's always somebody that's doing, like a couple of years ago when we were at PRI, Sonny Leonard was there. He builds huge monster. The guy builds 1,000 cubic inch engines. That's all his design.
Yeah.
And he'll bring a piece of like a, I don't know, what are they, 5 or 6 axis, milling centers.
Yeah.
They literally, when the show starts,
I just
they take like a 900-pound block of aluminum
Yeah. Big chunk.
and bolt it onto the turntable.
Yeah.
And throughout the weekend,
Yeah.
this thing is changing bits automatically.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It spits out a block when it's done.
Yeah. 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 The programming is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I just had it. I don't know what I did with it.
What was that? Your Saturday?
But I had last year at Expo, we were in the where the wrenches and the ones that were our gear driven ones. We could actually bend the wrench before breaking the gears inside.
Wow.
And I just had one that I saved when I did it, where I actually bent it.
Oh
And
wow.
it's like incredible the tension that they put on these things, to show the strength of the ratcheting wrenches. And
I've watched a couple of videos about that, and with the breaker bars and the wrenches, they're actually, there's ductility in the metal, so they are made to bend. They're not made to snap. They're not brittle.
Yeah.
You want them to give a bit.
God
Forbid it does snap.
I wanted to.
Well, it'll usually be the gear end, or on a even on a breaker bar, it'll be where the joint, pivots. That's where it's going to break. If you break the shaft, there was the manufacturing flaw.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff, man. But I love when I get those guys and they see me walk in the door, they're like, "Oh yeah, get that big guy,
get the
come
big
over
guy
here." And man, we'll just start leaning into that stuff, man. And,
Right.
man, I love breaking that shit.
See, that's a sound clip right there. That's a sound bite.
Yeah, I tell you, man. So, but I can't wait. God, I just can't wait.
That's great.
So
I see Matco Tools sponsors quite a couple of TV shows on Motor Trend.
Really?
we're
Oh,
getting
yeah.
better.
I didn't
We're getting
notice that.
better.
Oh yeah. I think it's like Hot Rod Garage. I'm pretty sure, or
That's cool.
one of the 2 or 3 that I watch is it's like
Uh,
major sponsorship by
The Hot Rod
Matco.
Garage is a good show.
We had for the longest time, and we still do. We have, of course, it's been really screwed up, but the Power Nation, or
Right? Yeah, that's
Spike.
yeah. Mhm.
And we had, that's when I met Lou years ago, because when he was on that show,
Right.
so
That's what it
forth.
is. Power Nation.
Power Nation, and
Yeah, on the Power Nation channel. There's as a matter of fact, there's a show with 2 guys. One of them sounds like a real Okie, and the other guy Brian. I believe his name is Brian. I met him here in Tampa. He used to work for the magazines that
That might
Evan
be the
Smith
Two
was
Guys
working for.
Garage. What became Two Guys Garage?
Two Guys Garage is filmed down here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like one of the announcers, the personalities on one of these TV shows that I watch. And I see a lot of Matco stuff, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool that they're sponsoring all of this.
Yeah, and then the hardest part about it, John, is that the Power Nation for the longest time was the only thing.
Right.
Okay. And we got a lot of great review, and we got a lot of headway with that. But as Motor Trend came out and people going into that, we can't get anybody from corporate to understand that they have to, they have to move.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's pulling nails, man. We have it was on my YouTube page. We had Steve Darnell from Welder Up crash our convention when we were in Vegas.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember you talking about that.
Later that day, I'm having lunch with the CEO, and he's like, "Well, what do you think about this guy?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? What I think about this guy? This is it.
That's where you need to be."
It's crazy. But they're so afraid to do anything. So
Detroit Muscle.
Detroit Muscle. Yep.
That's the show.
Yeah, that has.
I'll tell you. Hold on a sec.
Hopefully, I mean, like I said, I don't know who's going to be there. Like one year we had a build off. We had them building a truck in the shop, in the show and so forth. We usually have those guys, those muscle, somebody from there. So that's usually good.
Mark Christ.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the guy that I met here in Tampa, and he works with a guy, Tommy Bosher, who sounds like
Yep.
He's a cool dude, but he's a total hick. And I saw them guys at SEMA this year, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" It was cool. But
yeah,
it's good
that
Mark
Pat
got
guy
got a gig on a TV show.
What's the other one? Not muscle car. The Pat engine build.
Engine Masters.
Engine Master,
and that Pat Topian guy. He's the one with all the pocket protector stuff. That guy.
Yes, that's right. He's another show from that network, right?
Yeah.
This guy's like
he's out. They tape out
mechanic.
of Tennessee. They tape out They do Tennessee. Yep. And I can't remember what the other guy, but Pat's he taught at not Lincoln Tech, Wyotech. He was one of the engineer guys, and he's a machinist guy. I follow him on Instagram, and like I said, he makes knives, and he's got this mini bike, this 1972 mini bike, and it's up to like 58 miles an hour now. I mean, it's like just playing. Like I said, it's the stuff playing with all the gear. It's it's crazy stuff, but
it's cool.
Those guys they're all fun to hang out with.
I saw an episode of Hot Rod Garage the other day. I'm trying to catch up on all of the stuff that I record.
Good luck.
Yeah, well, it was from January, and it had Project X.
Yeah,
because Project X is now owned by Hot Rod instead of Popular Hot Rodding. Yeah, and they pulled the engine out of it and they put a LSX, but they had Holly made them they redid everything. Holly made them a custom manifold, and they put an old school Roots blower up back on the car, so it looks like it did in Hollywood Nights. But the wheels and tires are horrible.
Yeah.
They've got these like gray colored spoke wheels, and I'm like,
like the knockoff Halibrands.
No, they don't look good.
Is that the show with Lucky Costa?
Yes.
Yeah, and the other
Lucky
guy,
Costa and Tony D'Angelo.
Tony D'Angelo, right? Yeah, they do some cool shit. They did a really cool Pontiac some years ago.
Yeah, so they redid all of the stuff that General Motors spent like $500,000 redoing.
Yeah,
and it hasn't been touched, I guess, since I don't know, way back in like 97 or something like that.
Yeah, that car's gone through a lot of iterations.
Yeah. So they pulled out the motor that was in it and all of the stuff that GM did, and they tried to put it back to the way it was in the movie.
Right.
So they got the look, but they got to get rid of the wheels and tires. They just look like shit.
That was Tony Nancy's shop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was something, the movie overshadowed the fact that that was a real deal and he was a real deal guy,
I know.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, the car guys got it,
Right.
But it's funny. And it was Fran Drescher's first movie.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know so many lines from that movie.
Oh yeah.
A lot of memorable stuff.
There
My
is.
wife's
There
like, you're
really
a
is.
jerk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unreal.
Excellent.
Wow.
Oh
Yeah, I
man.
have a whole bunch of stuff I got to finish watching. That full custom. You ever see that full custom garage?
Yeah.
Guy from California.
I think he's the guy. I'm not really 100%. I don't really 100% like the guy. What's his name? He's a clean shaven guy. Oh, Ian Rossell.
Ian Rossell. Yeah.
Oh, his stuff is great. Yeah, his
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
is
he's
fantastic.
crazy.
Different show.
You know what's
Yeah.
funny though? Does he really work in a minimalist fashion, or
Look at
is
that.
that a load of crap?
No, I think so. You look at that shop. There's no AC. It's like it's hot.
It's like some barn. You could see
Yeah, it's like-
daylight coming through the wall.
Exactly.
I mean, does he really work like that?
I think so. And he's just got that unique blend of an artist's eye and then a fabricator's hand that can make it happen, which is kind of odd. It's rare.
That crazy rich customer of his.
Yeah, that
in the show.
commissions all the cars. Yeah,
He is hilarious.
Yeah.
I just love that dude.
he did the cartoon cars. They actually
he
drew
did a
them out
lot of
and
that stuff.
builds them. Like holy shit, man! He's
Yeah.
taking pieces of Volkswagens and just like resizing it. It's crazy stuff. He did that Buick. It was like a 50-something Buick.
Yeah.
They totally reformed. It's my God.
He took that. What was that?
That car that had the roof that opened up, slid back.
Oh, he made the bubble. Yeah. No.
They
but
took
he
that body
the-
and they put it on something else, and then they did a thing that was like a boat car.
Right.
He
You could
took.
walk in from
Wasn't
the
he
back.
made it a Merc? The guy wanted a Mercer. He wanted a Merc. He wanted a 50 Merc, but he took like, what was it? A
Probably
Hudson
Ford
or something. I mean, he took like a whole different car and cut it, sliced it, widened
Yeah.
it, shrunk it, moved it,
Yeah.
put some Cadillac parts on it, and it was a fucking Merc when it was done.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. He's got the artist side, but he's got a fabricator's touch, which is unbelievable. It's like Jesse James with cars. The guy can do
Yeah.
anything. Yeah, and
Yeah, it
very
was funny
minimal.
when he was doing the cartoon car, and he was looking for the instrument cluster or dash, and the dog brought him the bowl to put water in. He goes,
Right?
"Oh, this is going.
held it up.
I'll get you another
Yeah.
bowl."
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
like, takes the plasma cutter out and starts cutting the bowl all up to make it fit in the thing, and I'm like,
And the best part about him is he's so just mild and understated. It's almost like he doesn't care. The guy is like so laid back about it. It's unbelievable. That's a very good show.
It is a good.
I
show.
thought he was out of Canada or something.
Now California.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Cali boy.
Really? I thought
Oh,
that that's the people that
Maybe the production
Broadcast
company.
yeah.
Could be.
I thought it was a
They're from
Canadian.
everywhere. No, he's from California, and he's friends with like a couple of those other, like Gene Winfield.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
buddies with him, so he moves around in some pretty special circles out there.
Yeah. Oh, he's got the talent. He definitely can.
And then I record bitchin' rides, but I usually wind up erasing them.
Yeah, I don't watch all of those.
I don't know. There's just something about that.
That's one of the most flashiest.
They build some crazy stuff. I'm not going
He
to knock him.
does. He does.
He's
But
got
the
great techs
production.
working for him, but
I was saying the production value of the show is that super high gloss. Yeah.
And it takes like, I don't know, 2 years. They build a car. It's like, $800,000. And I'm like,
I'd rather see a backyard builder, truthfully, a guy who's you can follow what he's doing. It's it's obtainable.
so I have all of that stuff on tape,
Yeah.
on my DVR, but I just don't have time.
Yeah, then I watch all the YouTube stuff. All these freaking YouTube channels I'm following. Like,
I
you know,
get lost. Like I'll go on Facebook and then somebody will post a link for something. And then, after the video ends, because I'm logged in.
yeah,
So it's going to show stuff that you should be watching
right.
based on you.
That's what happens.
And I will lose myself
Oh yeah.
on YouTube for like 3 hours.
Oh yeah. No, I got like all my all the
check
technical stuff, all like the car diagnostic stuff I watch. I got all the tool ones that I watch. Now I'm watching all the drum channels. I got like 3 or 4 of those. And it's like, and then all the new ones that keep coming in every day, like, hey, you should like this. I'm like, yeah, I do like that. It's like, holy shit.
And my YouTube channel will the suggested stuff, it'll flop around.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It'll be something from Tim McCamus race cars, then all of a sudden it's something to do with symbols.
Well, right. That's how I got that Haas. That's how I got the Haas engineering one, because it was
electronics.
I watched.
It's ridiculous.
I watch a couple guys who do welding and machining, and that's how the Haas one came in. And now here's another one on Zildjian symbols, like you said. Like, okay,
that Tim guy cracks me up, man. I watched. I mean, I tell you,
which guy?
Tim, the chassis guy, the performance guy.
McCamus, he's hilarious.
Yeah. Man,
I'm gonna call him up and see if I can get him on here.
Man, I love to talk.
Dude, you've never met more of an American than Tim McCamus.
Nice.
Man, that guy.
He's the Donald Trump of chassis builders.
Nice.
Unbelievable.
And I just love when he goes, look, don't be a fuckhead.
Yeah.
or you'll say, don't be a dickhead. And you don't need 27 people up at the line. You don't need all this shit. You're nobody important. Just fucking hit the gas pedal. He was telling about what he hated at the track. Oh, man, I just laughed.
If you can't find the starting line beams, you should not be in the car.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, he was, man, crazy.
I made a comment on that one, and it got like 250 likes, and people were like, "Oh, you're so right."
Yeah.
Because they said something about so many of these not fast cars always have some guy out front like waving, like doing the hand and elbow
backing
deal.
up.
Yeah, there's a lot of posers on the starting line.
I like the one about his weight loss. I knew that the number one was like, stop eating a fucking cheeseburger and lose some weight.
Yeah, right.
Right.
I had a guy. I had a really good customer, and he had a 944 turbo, and I would get the car ready for track season, and he was right under. I think it's NASA is the name of the series. It was right under SSC. SSA. What is it?
SSCA.
Yeah, it was right under
SCCA.
that. But it was right under that. And it would be funny because he would bring the car to me, and he's like, "We got to take out another 50 pounds. We got to take out another 20 pounds. We got, and he wanted the car to look like stock, like I'm removing the dashboard and then like drilling all these holes and putting the dashboard back on,
Yeah.
And then it's like I'm taking the door off and removing the door bar, the brace in it, because I put a cage in the car, but we're moving weight out of the car, And it was finally like, I was like, hey, dude, like maybe if you lose 25 pounds.
Yeah. Stop going out to the steak dinners.
And I have no room to talk. I mean, I'm a big guy, but it's like.
But you're not driving the car either.
It's like, let's cut back on a cheeseburger, buddy. And all I could think about was when Tim said that, I just,
He's
so
such
funny.
A straight shooter.
Yeah.
But he explains things, in a very common way that that anybody can understand it. But the guy's brilliant, and he builds his people build awesome drag cars. He's just a great guy.
When I did his knockoff on the NASCAR driver. Because he had a window net, and then he had one of his guys was dressed up with all the patches or logos.
Yeah, he had the NASCAR jacket and the whole
NASCAR jacket and drinking a beer, and he's like, he goes, "So you really like this?" And he takes the window net and it's like, that piece of shit. And he goes, "Well, yeah." I was like,
it's a whole thing on the
that,
window
I'll
net
sell
latch.
you that, but that's not what we're going to sell.
Yeah,
So,
he has a whole series of videos. He literally takes you. It was a top sportsman car that they built, but he takes you from a bare chassis table all the way through every single phase of construction.
Mm.
He's got the camera right there in his shop, and he's explaining to you how you build these chassis, why you do what you do, how to mount a motor and transmission, and where does the motor belong based on your horsepower, what class you're running, how big of a tire, is it a manual car, is it an automatic car, all of that. He keeps
crazy.
no secrets.
Nice.
And he goes through body mounting, tin work, accessories, electronics, the whole deal, all the way out to the point where they literally brought the camera to the drag strip and he showed you pre-race prep and then showed the car going down the track and what they were doing to tune the chassis. It was a huge, huge series. And now he has all these other things, and then sometimes he does like some goofy stuff too, which is just the
I
best.
found this other guy, Hot Carl. Can't remember what it is. Starts with an S, but he's a Class A modified race car and he builds chassis.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that guy, he is out in left field too, man. I tell you, that's pretty funny. I like when he starts his show. He goes, "Well, we got to get the float bowls filled," and he pulls out the bourbon and Coke, stirs it up. He goes, "Well, I'm gonna get the fuel bowls started up. We're going to talk plasma cutters today," and goes over and starts just singing shit off. Oh man, that guy is crazy, man.
Nice.
I tell you, man.
So, Brian, did they give you any prelim, any hints about what's going to be at Expo? Any kind of new stuff? Or they hold it close?
Not a lot of new. I don't know about new stuff, but they didn't really go into a lot. It's been pretty quiet.
All right.
We've always complained about that because, you don't
Well,
know
I'll tell you,
what.
those new stubby little Torx bits worked out great on a freaking Audi valve covers, man. And I'm looking at these valve covers. I would have sworn they were aluminum. Took them off and they're plastic. It's silver plastic,
so much
but
stuff
it
is
looks
plastic,
aluminum. And they even tell you to hit it with a soft mallet to break it off. I'm thinking, all right, so look, no, it was double wall plastic. Holy shit!
But you got to be careful. You got to be careful. A lot of the newer oil pans are plastic.
Really?
Okay. But the actual bolts that go in there are plastic, and it's like they're cut out like your valve cover. I mean, your oil filler cap. They're only slotted. You only turn them a quarter degree.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
To take them out to drain the oil.
Okay.
And I got guys. They'll have like Allen, and they'll stick a 3/8 Allen in there.
Yeah.
And they just zing it off, and they'll pull everything out of the oil pan. It's done.
Last summer we were working on one of the rental cars. It's a VW, a Jetta, and it's got a Torx bit or drain plug. Yeah. So you put a Torx bit on a 3/8 ratchet, and you can't get it off. So you put a bigger ratchet on it, and now I'm like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? So you're trying to work this thing off, and I got my hand impact driver. I said, let's try this. I gave it a couple of whaps, and I told my buddy at the shop, I said, here, you hit it. And then he hit it. He's I got to hit it harder. Boom! Right into the oil pan. Luckily, Dorman sells the pan with the bolt. I was like, what's that telling you? This happens to everybody. And you're looking down from the inside, and it's just two little tack welds on the boss, on the threaded boss. I'm like, what a piece of shit. That's VW could have freaking put a bead of weld on that thing,
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got to put an oil pan on one of my Mazdas. It's I had on the lift. It's leaking, and I brake clean it, and now I see where the leak is. There's a dimple. I think it's when the exhaust broke on my daughter. It must have come up and hit it, and now it's really fucking leaking. So I got it ordered from Rock. It hasn't come in yet, so that may be this weekend's project.
Yeah. Hopefully, I get my Fickum back. I sent that off to be rebuilt for my 6.0. I didn't have enough injection spark. I only had I'm supposed to have 48 volts, and I only had 39.
Okay.
So the injectors weren't hitting.
All right.
And I don't know if you saw, I had two problems: no boost and no spark. I blew the intake boost side. I finally blew the hose.
That'll do it. It's better than blowing a rod.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go, baby. Nice.
Is that
Last
like heat related?
Well, no, it's actually where a bin was, and it had a small crack.
Yeah.
I had
It
that
was
happen on an
funny.
intake track on the car. And I put my hand in it. I actually posted that years ago. Like, yeah, you think we got a vacuum? You think why am I getting a PO 171 code? And my
Yeah.
freaking hand is in the intake. Like, so I duct taped it. I'm like, that'll work until I can get the part, and it did. The duct tape fucking sealed it.
It was funny because I was using that as child protection.
Oh,
Because when my daughters were starting to learn to drive, they would
oh,
only have 20 pounds of boost instead of 45.
there you go. Right, like a throttle stop.
Like a wastegate.
Yeah.
So once it got up to about 22 pounds of boost, you could hear it blow off.
It's like the guys used to put the wood screw in the secondaries on the quadrijet so they wouldn't open. You know, it's like, yeah, we'll fix
So
it.
it finally blew. I went to the bank and I stood on it, and all of a sudden it fell flat on its face. And I was like, well, that's it.
Yeah.
And then remember I was telling you I had that cutting out problem, or the
Yeah.
truck was running rough cold.
Yeah, yeah.
I left my I put the scanner on it and did a video play through a cycle, and my injector volts never came up until it got hot.
It's nice when you can reach back and take a new scanner off the wall and just
Yeah,
plug it
it
in. You
is.
know, yeah, I know. It's tough. Yeah. Good for you.
Hey, Ray, if you were my neighbor, you would pull right in and say, "Hey, can I borrow that scanner for a minute?" And I'd say, "No problem, bud."
Yeah, I got you. I know.
I got a
That's
couple
the
buddies
cool
I went to
part.
high school with. They come by and they say, "Can you turn my check engine light off?"
Oh yeah,
No problem, man.
no problem.
So
I was chasing the cat efficiency code in this Mazda 2, and I said, I want to see the threshold efficiency. I was in mode 6. I couldn't get the scanners I was using, the graphing mode, to give me what I wanted. So I had a feeling it wasn't bad. It was within, just maybe 5% or so. So I put a bottle of Guaranteed to Pass in it. And I drove it from Oceanside to Little Neck to see Joe. It was 22 miles. I came out of his house 2 hours later, started the car, took off, and I looked down like, check engine light is out, because I didn't turn it off. I wanted it to turn itself off. This stuff worked, man. I was within that threshold, so now at least I know I can pass inspection.
That's
So,
cool.
Yeah, that was good to know.
So what does it does? Just like scours the crud out
It
of
does, and they actually recommend using it in your regular car like a couple times a year. So I'm going to throw it in the Cruise and in my other Mazda. Just
awesome.
it's like a super like a gum out on steroids is what it is.
Yeah.
Basically, it's acetone and some other stuff, but yeah, actually cleans the screen in the Cat. So, but this car had an exhaust leak. There were a couple things that I mean, the worst thing, I tell people, the worst case scenario is if you have an oil leak that gets through the exhaust. If you burn an oil, rather,
a lot of oil, yeah.
It'll just kill the Cat. There's no way coming back from that.
I had on my Nissan, when I had my Nissan pickup, something happened with the Cat. And then I was told by one of the mechanics over there that on the overlap, it actually will take the broken ceramic dust and pull it into the motor.
Oh, wow.
Because the motor started burning oil.
Yeah,
You'd be sitting at a stoplight, and all of a sudden you'd get a puff of blue smoke come out of the exhaust.
That's not good.
And the motor was losing power and the whole deal. And I went and saw, he was a drummer. And I had met him at the drum store, and he worked at the Nissan dealership.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, what's going on with this thing? And he goes, it's the Cats. He goes, they disintegrate.
Yeah.
And because they're literally right on the exhaust manifold.
Yeah, that's how this car is too, right on the.
He says, and on the overlap, it'll pull that ceramic dust in, and it kills your valve guides.
The exhaust reversion pulls it in.
Yeah. He says it kills the exhaust valve guides. He says you start getting oil dripping through the head, you're burning it, boom.
We got a minute left. Brian, enjoy Expo and
have a good time, man.
Text me with the good shit, and I want to know about it, man. I want to know.
You'll get the 30 pictures. Don't worry.
I want to see them all.
Yeah, don't worry.
Take pictures and eat some good pizza.
Yeah, and I want to see those more Camaro pictures, John, because that thing's coming up
This weekend,
bitching
you'll see.
too.
I'm gonna have a lot.
Yeah, that'd be
Excellent.
awesome.
Cool.
All right. Yeah, I have a bunch on my phone. I got to upload them to my computer so I can put them into the Facebook file.
Yeah. Nice.
So I'm gonna separate on chassis.
Yeah, I'll be
Connection.
here. Well, we'll be here Thursday, and then Saturday morning, I'll fly out. So we got
so
one
it is
more
next
week.
Okay.
I
it
thought
is
you were
next
leaving
week.
this Saturday.
That's what I thought too. Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
Well,
not
we'll-
this Saturday. Next Saturday.
Right,
I got 1
gotcha.
week. Got 1 week to go. So
All right. We got 9 seconds, 8 seconds, 6 seconds.
we're going.
Maybe not even.
I
I'll
know.
see you guys later.
See you guys later.
Take it
man.
easy, guys.